Hi everyone, this is Gamer. I'll be returning to another versus video. I'm certain some of you have considered joining Team Rocket, yet you have a challenging decision to make. Who will you pick for your Pokemon? Will it be a Raticate or Zubat? Both seem rather weak by many standards. However, I'm certain that you are capable grunts who will be evolving your Pokemon to unlock their full potential. Therefore, I will be kind enough to present you with a quick summary on what the final evolution of these two Pokemon are capable of. Maybe that will help you better decide which one fits you and will make your Team Rocket career an incredible success. Stats-wise, Crobat is just better in every single category. I know, you are thinking that Zubat is the obvious choice then. However, we must look at the moves available to these two Pokemon and we'll see a big difference there. Raticate might have lower stats overall, but it has a more diverse pool of moves to pick from. While its level up moves can be alright, Raticate really shines once you look at the TM moves it can learn. Moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball are useful in terms of coverage against many types. These extra options can certainly make up for the lower stats, as a super effective move can sometimes be the difference between a victory and a loss. Conversely, we have Crobat who lacks such a diverse moveset. Its best flying type is either Air Cutter or Fly depending on who you ask, and Poison Fang is its best poison move. But wait, you might have noticed that Sludge Bomb is one of the TMs Crobat can learn. The problem is that Sludge Bomb can only be acquired after beating Elite Four, and as a grunt, you don't have that sort of time. A small diversity of moves will make Crobat more reliant on its stats. We will see a competition to see if more diverse moves is better, or if better stats will determine the winner. It wouldn't be fair if we start things off with Raticate vs Crobat, so I will start off with a Rattata and Zubat. The first battle against my rival shows the difference between the two. In terms of level 5 Pokemon, Rattata is really alright. It starts off with Tackle and Tail Whip, two very standard moves. Its speed advantage and not missing any tackles were the reasons why it beat the Charmander. Zubat is absolutely miserable though. Its leech life is weak to begin with, and against a Charmander, it might as well be worthless. The loss for Zubat does hint at what's to come. Given that these two Pokemon need levels, I had to fight the optional rival fight to get more experience. I attempted that fight with a level 10 Rattata and it failed due to Scent Attack from the Pidgey. I then decided to fight the only trainer in Brock's gym with a level 13 Rattata, but even with the newly learned Hyper Fang, Rattata simply took too much damage fighting Geodude and lacked the HP to outlast the Sandshrew. I was certainly not ready for Brock. I then fought my rival and once Hyper Fang one-shotted the Pidgey, the rest of the fight was in the bag. I still must grind a lot more before I can take on Brock. Let me just say that grinding Zubat was a miserable experience. The first three moves it has are Leech Life, Astonish, and Supersonic. Supersonic has 55% chance to hit, but felt more like 10% to me. Astonish cannot hit normal types, which means I cannot use it against Pidgey, Sparrow, and Rattata, severely limiting what Pokemon I can grind on. Leech Life is just weak and it's only useful against Pokemon like Caterpie. After a lot of frustrating grinding, I finally challenged my rival with the level 12 Zubat. Through incredible luck of landing more than one Supersonic, I managed to get past the Pidgey. Then, Astonish carried the day with Zubat in red health. This isn't a moveset that can do much against Brock, so I must keep grinding until level 16. I revisited Brock's gym with a level 17 Rattata. I fought the trainer again, and against Geodude, Hyper Fang didn't flinch it at all. This is why I said that Rattata's leveled up moves are alright at best. Sandshrew was an easier foe, but I know I don't have enough to fight Brock. 3 levels and an evolution later, Raticate is ready to fight Brock at level 20. At this point, Raticate has enough HP to take hits, allowing Raticate to take out Geodude with little damage. Against Onyx, I could comfortably use Tail Whip against Onyx until a single Hyper Fang took out more than 3/4 of its health. All the grinding has paid off and Brock has been defeated. How does Zubat fare in Brock's gym? Against the trainer, a level 14 Zubat did well against Geodude, but a couple of sand attacks from Sandshrew ended that attempt. I returned with a level 16 Zubat because it has learned Bite, a dark type 60 base power move. This move is neutral against rock types while it's also a special. Therefore, it deals with the trainer's Geodude easily and Sandshrew didn't fare much better. Confident Zubat can do this, I challenged Brock after healing it. Bite can also flinch and Geodude kept flinching, resulting in Zubat reaching Onyx with full health. Onyx was a tough opponent, but luckily I only landed one Rock Tomb. The battle could have been worse, but the level 16 Crobat surprised me by beating such a tough opponent before Raticate. With Brock beaten, you would think Raticate would have an easy time with Misty, and you would be right. A Hyper Fang barely finishes off Staryu, while two Hyper Fangs took out Star me. To show how confident I was in Raticate, I actually fought my rival right after Misty without even healing. Hyper Fang and Quick Attack swept through my rival's team like it was nothing. My Crobat has evolved into Crobat by the time I fought Misty, but fell a little short of beating her. At level 22, Crobat has the same speed as Starmie and doesn't reliably defeat it yet. Instead, I chose to fight my rival, and Wing Attack proved to be quite strong Crobat who only took a single Ember from Charmander. Having gained a level from the rival fight, Crobat fought Misty again. This time, Starmie flinched from a bite and fainted after 2 hits. Compared to the Brock fight, these two Pokemon both did much better against Misty, with Raticate being level 26 and Crobat being level 23 after the 2 fights. The rival fight on the SSN was very easy for Raticate as it didn't take any damage from the fight. I taught Raticate Dig, so it has a good move against rock and electric types. This is where the more diverse move pool of Raticate starts to pay dividend. With Dig, Raticate swept through Surge by one-shotting all of his Pokemon. Raticate seems unstoppable at the moment. Crobat fought the rival at level 28 and they had little issues with him. The worry was Surge, as electric moves are super effective against Crobat. I actually grinded a fair bit because I needed a Cherry Berry to hold. I had 5 Meowth, but their pickup wasn't cooperative with me. In the end, I went and fought Surge with a level 34 Crobat without the berry, and some luck was involved for the win to happen. At this point of the game, Raticate is level 33 and Crobat is level 35. Maybe Raticate's diverse moves will get it further ahead in this versus. For the fight against Erica, I'm still using Hyper Fang for Raticate as it hits very hard. Victory Bell missed its Stun Spore, allowing Raticate to be unscathed. Tangela then missed Poison Powder. Honestly, being poisoned seems like the least threatening thing in this gym, as it will only make Raticate stronger due to its Guts ability. Out of habit, I still gave Raticate a Cherry Berry to remove paralysis. I think a paralyzed Raticate that lands Hyper Fang can probably come close to one-shotting the Vileplume. As for Team Rocket, Raticate took out Onyx and Rhyhorn easily with Dig. Yet Kangaskhan proved to be a tougher customer as it took and dished out hits equally well. Not sure if I could have beaten it if it spammed and hit Mega Punches. By the time I fought Erica, Crobat already evolved into Crobat. Crobat has a very easy time against Erica's gym with Wing Attack sweeping through everything. For anyone curious, I do have the TM for Aerial Ace. I just prefer Wing Attack due to its 35 PP, as it means fewer trips to the Pokemon Center to recover PP. After beating Erica, I taught Crobat Giga Drain and they easily dealt with Onyx and Rhyhorn. I never knew Kangaskhan had Fake Out, and ironically, the only time I used it was against a Pokemon that has Inner Focus, making it immune to flinches. 2 Wing Attacks from Crobat took out Kangaskhan, making this fight a breeze. The rival fight at the Pokemon Tower was easy as expected. Given that I needed Silph Scope to proceed, I don't see the reason for fighting my rival before I acquire it. By then, the fight becomes very easy. The rival fight at the Silph Scope would be a different story if Raticate wasn't level 53 when the fight happened. Unlike the rival fight at Pokemon Tower, Raticate wasn't one-shotting everything as its low special attack is felt in the fight. The Giovanni fight required 2 attempts because bad luck from paralysis ended the first attempt. At this point, I got myself Return as I needed a hard-hitting move for Raticate, and Return happens to be a stab move too. The second attempt saw Raticate getting Poison, which honestly is fine for me. Poison seems like the best status to have for Guts. Crobat got through the rival fight at the Pokemon Tower with ease as well. The rival fight at Silph Co was pretty simple until I fought Charizard. One Flamethrower from Charizard took out almost half of Crobat's health. If it weren't for my confusion luck, the fight could have easily ended as a loss. This makes me nervous since I really lack good moves to deal with Charizard later on. The Giovanni fight went smoothly due to Nidoqueen's Body Slam not paralyzing Crobat. Overall, Poison Point isn't something to worry about due to Crobat's poison typing, and against what Giovanni had, Crobat was relatively bulky. By the end of the Giovanni fight, both Crobat and Raticate are level 55. By the time Raticate fought Sabrina, it was simply too strong. Return made it so that there was no chance of Sabrina's Pokemon surviving a single attack. Raticate was level 61 and fought Koga, and that fight was very one-sided too. It does appear that with all the battles I go through after fighting Erica, Koga and Sabrina's Pokemon simply stood no chance. Blaine also didn't fare that well given that both Rapidash and Arcanine missed all of their Fire Blasts. I wasn't sure how hard they would hit, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't have to find out. Arcanine would have had a chance to land one eventually, but Raticate got a critical hit dig that ignored the two Intimidates, making the super effective move very devastating. Like Raticate, Crobat was too strong for Sabrina's team. Koga fared worse because Weezing only did 13 damage with Sludge. I do believe that Koga can only defeat me with explosions, and even then, I think Crobat can handle one of those from Weezing. Unlike Raticate, Crobat did take some Fire Blast from Rapidash and Arcanine. Rapidash did 34 damage with a Fire Blast, while Arcanine did 58 damage. Those do look like rookie numbers given how strong Fire Blast should be. Arcanine did get Crobat down to 73 health, but that was as far as it got. Confusion has proven to be pretty good, and this fight was a lot closer than I would have liked. Still, a win is a win. Raticate's game plan against Giovanni was spam Ice Beam until Giovanni's team fainted. Being level 66 meant Raticate took very little damage and ended the fight with full health. The rival fight before the Elite Four was a walk in the park until I got to Charizard, whose single flamethrower nearly removed half of Raticate's HP. This is quite worrying as Charizard will have Fire Blast in the champion fight, and if it lands, it will leave a mark. As for Crobat, the Giovanni fight was spamming Giga Drain and Wing Attack. His team posed very little threat unless the Nidoqueen got a paralysis from the Body Slam. As for the rival fight, Crobat did lose the first attempt. Charizard proved to be fierce, and I'm starting to see Poison Fang as a terrible move for these single Pokemon runs. Its damage output is very low, and even with the poison, it takes too long to whittle down a Pokemon, especially when Elite Four and the champion use full restores. Confuse Ray, conversely, is a great move I haven't been utilizing properly. The second attempt saw the combination of Confuse Ray, Wing Attack, and bad AI choices, helping me secure the victory. Once Raticate was level 70, it got its first chance at the Elite Four. Given that it wasn't a legendary Pokemon, I'm not expecting it to do very well. This was merely a gauge to see where it's at, how many levels I have to grind, and discover any other issues that might arise. The first attempt got very close to beating Lorelei, but Raticate not waking up to Jinx's lovely kiss ended that run. Between Return and Thunderbolt, Raticate had a pretty convincing victory over Lorelei in the second attempt. As for the Bruno fight, I did have some misplays. The first attempt saw me using Ice Beam on Machamp when a return would have been plenty. I could have beaten Bruno on the first try, but I lost that opportunity. The second attempt saw Hitmonchan inflicting massive damage with Sky Uppercut, and Machamp finishing Raticate off. The third attempt saw Machamp using a Scary Face before landing a cross chop that dropped Raticate to red health. I went for a dig, which basically gave Machamp a chance to make Raticate faint. While stupid plays were the reasons why I lost to Bruno, I just can't see Raticate coping with the remaining Elite Four members. Then we have Crobat, who was level 68 when it got its first chance. First attempt saw Crobat sleeping a lot most of the time, while the second attempt saw it frozen for most of the time. It's obvious that both of them need to grind more. Raticate gets its rematch against the Elite Four at level 79. I didn't attempt it sooner because I needed to get sufficient money to buy the TM for Shadow Ball. More on Shadow Ball later. The grinding also saw a plentiful number of PP ups from the Meowths I had. This allowed me to increase the PP for all of my moves. Against Lorelei, Raticate could two-shot Dugong, Slowbro, and Lapras, though Lapras's Citrus Berry made it impossible unless I get a critical hit as I did in the attempt. Jinx had no chance of surviving a return for Raticate, and this victory was very convincing. Next, we have Bruno. For my first attempt, his Onyx was taken out by a single Ice Beam, while Hitmonchan got frozen and was finished out by a return before it can thaw. Machamp got a bulk up before one-shotting Raticate. My second attempt saw me using Return and a one-shot at the Hitmonchan. Return also did a lot more damage to Machamp, so it clearly got a very low roll during the first attempt. Machamp used a Scary Face, but Raticate still outsped it to finish it off. Ice Beam then knocked out the last Onyx, allowing me to secure the victory against Bruno. Then I taught Raticate Shadow Ball to deal with Agatha's Gengars. Gengars are better defensively as special than physical, while Raticate's special stat isn't great and return cannot hit ghost types. Shadow Ball fixes that issue by being both super effective against Gengar and being physical in this gen. With this new move, Raticate easily defeated Agatha. Lance was also a pushover since Raticate had Thunderbolts for Gyarados and Aerodactyl, while Ice Beam easily wrecked the Dragonairs and Dragonite. Here, the more diverse moves have made Raticate stellar at dealing with these opponents. My first attempt against the champion was very close to being successful. Pidgeot didn't use Sand Attack or Feather Dance, allowing me to knock it out in 2 turns after Gary used a full restore. Alakazam fell to a single Shadow Ball, while Executor fell to 2 Shadow Balls after missing his Sleep Powder. Rhydon missed a Scary Face and got eliminated by Ice Beam. Thunderbolt then one-shot the Gyarados, bringing Raticate face to face against the Charizard. The Citrus Berry prevented me from making Charizard faint before its Fire Blast wrecked Raticate. For the later attempts, I restarted the attempt as soon as Pidgeot used Sand Attack because my luck isn't great with accuracy drops. Eventually, I got a run with Pidgeot to use Feather Dance and decided to see how bad it got. I couldn't one-shot the Alakazam, who then used the Reflect. I used Ice Beam on Executor, which actually did more damage than Shadow Ball. Rhydon still needed 2 hits to knock out, while low damage roll Thunderbolt doesn't one-shot the Gyarados. Due to the Scary Face used by Rhydon, Charizard was faster than Raticate and lands both of his Fire Blasts. With no reliable way of getting past Charizard, I used 4 rare candies to get Raticate to level 84. Pidgeot used Feather Dance, while Alakazam survived 1 Shadow Ball and used Future Sight instead of Reflect. Thankfully, Future Sight did very little, while Raticate 2-shotted the Executor. At this level, Raticate can also one-shot Rhydon with a decent roll. Gyarados once again survived the Thunderbolt, but Charizard was reliably beaten after 2 Thunderbolts. Raticate has beaten the Elite Four and the champion at level 84. With Raticate finishing off the champion at level 84, we can now see how Crobat will fare. With better stats and less diverse move pool BS are doing, the fight with Lorelei was only challenging due to bad luck. The first attempt saw Crobat defeated due to very bad confusion luck. The next few attempts were ended due to either bad confusion luck, unable to thaw from being frozen, or unable to wake up from sleep. Status moves are indeed the bane of Crobat. The winning attempt saw me returning the status favor with Confusion and Poison Fang. The combo of Confusion and badly poisoned helped me wreck Lapras. Cloyster was simply annoying with its Protect, but with Wing Attack having 42 PP, it's not going to win a stall fight. The Bruno fight was a simple Wing Attack for fighting types and Giga Drain for Onyxes. The Agatha fight started off poorly as I thought it was a repeat of the terrible confusion luck I had with Lapras. Luckily, I was able to take out the first Gengar before too much damage was accumulated. The Haunter and the second Gengar both went down with far less problems. Crobat was defeated easily as well. Arbok had me worried after it got 2 screeches off before landing an Iron Tail. Thankfully, Crobat's decent stats allowed it to take the hit well, and it was able to beat Agatha on the first attempt. The Lens fight was challenging in that I had no real answer against Aerodactyl. Poison is apparently not very effective against rock types, and Giga Drain did literally nothing. Aerodactyl also had Ancient Power, which was not only super effective but also boosted its stats further. After some pondering, I taught Crobat Steel Wing and replaced Poison Fang because it took too long to be useful. I used Confuse Ray on Aerodactyl and it hit itself on both of its turns, allowing me to finish it off with 2 Steel Wings. If Gyarados didn't have Intimidate, I think Steel Wing would have been even more devastating. I used Confuse Ray on the first Dragonair, which saw it hitting itself 1 turn and then landing a Thunder Wave which paralyzed Crobat. I wanted to see if luck can be by Crobat's side this time. The second Dragonair did reasonable amount of damage through Outrage and Dragon Rage, but still had faith in Crobat. Crobat was one turn away from losing, but due to the confusion caused by Outrage, Dragonite hit itself on its last turn, allowing Crobat to finish it off. The fact that Crobat wasn't fully paralyzed at all during that fight against Lance meant that all the good luck I lacked earlier against the Elite Four had consolidated in this last fight. With Lance defeated, Crobat needs to fight the champion. Will they need rare candy used as well, like Raticate? Having seen the strength of Confusion, I started the fight off with a Confuse Ray on the Pidgeot. The sand attack would be frustrating to deal with, and Confusion is one of the two ways I can avoid it, the other being Fly if I do go that route. I got Pidgeot low enough to force Gary to use a full restore. Then Gary did a surprising thing by bringing Rhydon out. I don't think I've seen the AI swap Pokemon before. Anyways, a Giga Drain easily dispatched the Rhydon. Alakazam came out next and managed to get a Reflect before it fainted. This actually made taking Executor out harder as Wing Attack did noticeably less damage. Crobat was put to sleep by Executor, but damage was still minimal and it bought enough time for the Reflect to expire. Pidgeot came out next and I didn't take any chances by starting off with Confuse Ray. Pidgeot came out with about 60% health, so between it hitting itself and Wing Attack, it fainted. That's the second most dangerous Pokemon removed. I had no quick answer to Gyarados, so it was just a lengthy bout until Gary gave up on using full restore on the Gyarados. When Charizard came out, Crobat had 185 HP. This is the moment of truth, as we'll see how hard Fire Blast can hit. For countermeasures, I actually taught Crobat Rain Dance for this occasion. Not taking chances, I went for Rain Dance the first turn. Surprisingly, the Rain Dance and Crobat's special defense saw the Fire Blast do only 46 damage. I then went for Confuse Ray, which paid off with Charizard hitting itself. 3 Wing Attacks and 2 more Charizard hitting itself later. Charizard fainted and Crobat has beaten the champion. For you future Rocket Grunts out there, the good news is that both Rattata and Zubat are viable. Their evolved forms have their strengths and weaknesses. If you wish to be the most frustrating grunt your opponents ever have to face, then Zubat is your choice, as the Zubat line excel at Poison and Confusion, statuses that will leave your opponents helpless. If you want diversity and a Pokemon ready for any situation, then the Rattata line is your choice due to the better move pool. If you decided that Team Rocket isn't your career, then both Pokemon can take you to the top. Raticate was level 84 and Crobat was level 78 when they beat the champion. If you want the quickest way up, then Crobat is certainly your choice. That's it for the video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and maybe even subscribe. Thank you.